so much.
Okay, Mr. Day, to be followed by Ms. Joanne Sorrentino.
Mr. Costello, I think that was my handout. If I've done something wrong, you should tell the group, because I gave each of you a handout. I'm a lawyer in the neighborhood. My name's Jonathan Day. I'm not with RUDH, but I do believe that they are an important part of the public-private partnership that's in play here. We have the city at the center of it with their $6 million. We have the developer on one hand, and then we have the citizens, and we've spent a lot of time and hard work, and there's something that in here that is a gross oversimplification of the conclusions of their report, but what I've looked at it as a layperson is that the traffic study seems to be pointing the finger at I-10 as the problem rather than the impact created by the development. And I think that an important part of the City Council's responsibility here is that here on the first handout it says the developer shall satisfy all city permitting requirements. That's one of their contractual responsibilities. And I would be very happy if the city officials who were helping us, in particular our council member, looked at our involvement as part of the partnership. And in particular, if you look at the grades that come out of this, there's some really bad grades, and this is a good student, this intersection. This is a good student right now. There's not a lot of traffic there. And the question that the City Council needs to make sure that the city engineer is asking is, this is a very important traffic impact analysis. This isn't just some center. This was a very important center, which was controversial, and which is receiving $6 million, which is 3 years of the savings we were talking about at length. It's a lot of money. So the city needs to give the city engineer the authority to ask the developer for the goods, for the real information, because as Mr. Costello points out, my survey, my summary may not be accurate. It might be all wet behind the ears. I'm just a lawyer. The other handout is in regards to the Clutterbuck Amendment, which says that all modifications need to be approved by Mayor Parker or her designee. There's at least one modification, which we've talked about, which is the bridge, the fact that we've got this traffic sitting on a 40,000-pound bridge. Then the other thing is that the mitigation report calls for Yale Street widening, and it's not clear to me that the Yale Street widening is in the budget. So these are two unbudgeted items, maybe just one, but I think there's two unbudgeted items that they have to go through the mayor. And again, the city engineer needs to understand this is a special project.
Thank you, sir. Your time is it.
Councilmember Lowell.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Day, and everyone for coming down today. Here's the most important thing that I think that you said today, and that is this is a partnership between the City of Houston, the developer, and the neighborhood. And as long as we keep that partnership active and talking to each other and with common goals, then I think this is going to be a successful development.
I agree.
This TIA study, and there's going to be more than one, probably three. Each of them may say a very different thing. In my experience with them, with TIA, they all vary and they're all different. We can all sit down, as you said, as partners, and I think we're all moving to do that. Then it'll be successful, and we'll be able to accomplish the goals of keeping the traffic out of the neighborhood, making sure that we're not overloading our bridges, figuring out a way that the store can be successful, because we all want a successful store now, and how they can deliver goods to the site in a way that is acceptable to the neighborhood and yet gets the goods to them. We're at the very beginning of this partnership, and so over the long term, I think we're going to be successful in having a good development in your neighborhood as long as we keep these lines of communication open. I think you have a commitment around this table, especially from your council member, that that's going to happen. And I want to thank you all for coming, but to tell you that this partnership is going to stay in place. And if that happens,
that means a lot.
If that, and this isn't, I don't think this is a special development, actually. Montrose is going through an HEB that's coming in. More and more, as this city becomes, and the inner city becomes more attractive to what they call big box retailers, we're going to have to figure out how we do this. And in every neighborhood, it will be uniquely different. And so this is the first of figuring out how we put these partnerships together and how they're successful. But my prediction is we'll have many of these to the neighborhoods in our inner loop, and if we do, then that's good for Houston because we'll get those tax dollars to help us balance our budget, and we won't have to furlough employees. So thank you. You have our commitment. This partnership will stay together.
Is there any way, I really appreciate that, because I do think that as the city considers these 380 agreements and giving city money back to the developer, that with money comes responsibility, and that it is important that the traffic impact analysis be that the city engineer realize that public safety is at issue, and there's also a lot of public money at issue in this project. And I really did wonder. I was hoping, I know Councilmember Costello has an engineering background, and I didn't know if he had any questions or if he might also share some of our commitment to making sure that, because the language of these agreements in these studies is very technical, and it helps to have somebody that is experienced. It sounds like you have experience with the TIAs as well, but I mean, okay. Are there any questions? Okay.
And let me say one thing. Our engineering department, our traffic engineers, actually are very sensitive to the neighborhoods. I've worked with them on many different projects. Working on parking right now, or different issues. There is a sensitivity there to the neighborhoods and how we can do things that don't. The neighborhoods, it's compatible with the development that's happening. We're just experiencing some great growing pains, which is wonderful in this city, and especially in the inner city, of which we have some new entertainment zones that have come in on Washington. We now have big box retailers that want to come into the inner city that didn't before. There are new challenges that we have, but they're not anything that we can't overcome and figure out how we can develop and keep our neighborhoods, the quality of life in our neighborhoods intact.
Is there any update on the operating agreement negotiations that might interact with the process of maybe controlling the traffic?
I do not know that information. I would have to defer to the mayor on that, or Councilmember Gonzalez. I do not know that.
Not at this time.
Thank you. Ms.